BHS has been meeting for almost 45 years, and it's a really great organization. I'm proud to be a part of it. If this is your first time here, we've known to just fill up this room, and I know some of you weren't able to make it to our online platform. Maybe you popped in to check it out. We did the best we could to keep it informative and stick with the theme for BHS. And so we're glad to be back in person, no matter what. Our speaker today is Reverend Zamira, Reverend Z. She is a licensed minister through the Centers of Spiritual Living and an assistant minister at Mile High Church right here. She has her master's degree in consciousness studies from the Holmes School of Spiritual Leadership and has worked as a licensed school psychologist in the public school system for 21 years. She's a HeartMath biofeedback practitioner and is studying to become an ordained minister in the Sufi tradition. Her passions include building interfaith bridges in community as well as supporting kids and adults in overcoming anxiety. She's the author behind the blog at kidsrelaxation.com. In her free time, you can find her on spiritual pilgrimage, reading, hiking, spending time with her family, or praying her alchemy crystals bowl. Please help me welcome Reverend Z.
Oh, it is so exciting. Welcome back, BHS. Yay, I'm so excited. I have heard Christopher say twice today this perfect word, which is glorious. I was like, this is so glorious to be able to be together in person and to hug one another. And while it's so joyful in so many ways, I know that also this is a time for all of us of emergence. Right? Is it not? We're emerging from this quarantine cocoon and life is here before us, and we're here on this precipice of how shall I create right now? What is for me in this new expression as I step out of this pause button that we've been in and into a new way of being in the world as it is right now? And so while my talk title today says Authentically You, Building Your Holographic Personal Brand, it is also about how we are emerging into life right now and stepping forward, and what do we have to create in front of us? And what is the energetic signature that we're bringing with us? And so today is going to be a lot about doing some inner work to really get that vision, to gather our own, I call it our holographic personal brand, and you'll find out why in just a little bit, but to gather our own energetic presence and the pillars that make up that presence as we emerge. And so, let's see if I can get, I might not know what I'm doing here, Anthony. There we go. Oh, over here. Yes. See? It showed up. And so the question that we're going to open with is, what are you bringing forth from the cocoon? And today is really about harvesting the experience, the cocoon experience that all of us have had, and finding those values, those experiences that we've had, and those qualities that we're merging with, so that we can strengthen our presence and we can emerge as a beneficial presence in the world. Because I know that each one of you, regardless of the business, that you are holographic beings, that you are multidimensional beings, and that you have all of these parts that have been called in various ways to express and to share with the world, to make a difference, to be a beneficial presence out in the world. And so I'd like you to just check in for a moment to see, as you are sitting here in the chair, or if you are watching online, that as you are moving forward, are you living true to yourself? And what I mean by that is, right now, do you feel that your life is aligned with what matters most to your heart? And that could be in various areas of your life, right? It could be in the business part of your life, your relationship part of your life, your spiritual part of self part of your life, all of those parts. But just checking in and seeing, is my heart aligned with what matters most? And am I, with that alignment, sharing from that place? Buddhist teacher Tara Brach, you might somewhat point at the computer, not at the TV, remember? She just in the last couple of weeks, she published a book called Trusting the Gold, Trusting the Gold, Uncovering Your Natural Goodness. And in it, she writes that she works with many, many people in her retreats, and she asks them to define for themselves what living true to themselves actually means. And you know, she gets so many different answers, as there are differences within each of us. Some people say that living from the heart is about being loving, being present, and being authentic with the people around them. And some people say that living from the heart is about being generous and serving those in need. And still others say it's about expressing their creativity and believing in their own worthiness and doing the work that they love. And still others say that it's about taking those risks that are often necessary to make important difference in the world and being courageous enough to do that. It's personal, of course, to each one of us. And also it changes at different junctures in our life. So here we are at this juncture, this emergence from the quarantine cocoon. And so I just ask you to keep that in the forefront of your consideration this morning, is what matters to your heart? And are you aligned with that and poised and ready to share it in a greater way? I recently was walking my dogs and I was listening to a podcast. And it was interesting that I picked this podcast because, there we are. Because it was a podcast put out by Sounds True, which is a publishing company in Boulder, and they're about awakening people in the world. And the CEO and founder, Tammy Simon, was interviewing a branding expert, Jessica Zweig. And she's considered by all the top companies, Forbes and Inc. and all that, as a branding expert. And she just published a book with Sounds True called Be. And you can see its title officially is A No Bullshit Guide to Increasing Your Self-Worth and Net Worth by Simply Being Yourself. And as I'm walking my dogs, I'm thinking, why am I listening to branding? You know, I don't particularly sell very much. I write some stuff on a blog, which I have been in the process of rebranding and is going to emerge soon. But I was like, why was I drawn to this? And as I continued to listen, I realized, because she was talking about branding, not my social media presence or what I had for breakfast or sharing the latest walk I did with my dogs. She wasn't talking about that kind of brand. She was talking about that kind of branding, but in a deeper layer. She was talking about branding in the sense of what is your essence? How can you really get in touch deeply with that authentic sense of yourself and have the courage to just be you? And share the signature you that you came here to share with the world. And I thought, wow, that does take a lot of courage, right? And Tammy Simon says, I am pretty certain that my listeners don't care what I had for breakfast. But she said, Jessica, tell us more about what you mean. And she said, you know, personal branding is about being profoundly committed to your assignment here on planet Earth, so that you can embark on a deep excavation to truly understand and embody what makes you, you. And that means that you have to have the soul level courage to value yourself, to be vulnerable, to share your story, and to lead with a sense of service and generosity. And she said that she deliberately describes personal branding as holographic because each of us is a multidimensional being. And that in being that multidimensional being, it comes to life. It is energized, kind of like I was talking about in our prayer this morning, is energized by our inner light. And the power of amplifying that inner light coherently conveys and beams through each one of us so that we can share with laser sharp clarity in the world. Because the more I'm in touch with my own personal values, my own personal divine qualities that I want to share and amplify through my spiritual practice, and the more that I'm in touch with those experiences of my life that have made me who I am, particularly the ones that might be the darkest, the most challenging, the ones that you've had to cling with all of your soul to the spiritual tools in order to make it through them. Because she says once we harvest, once we are in touch, once we've moved beyond those experiences and we have really got that soul stamina of being over here from the experience, then we can share our light with the world. And actually, it's those experiences and those deepest, darkest, most challenging things that we've had to overcome that hold the gold of our greatest service to others who may be experiencing the same things. I arrived here at Mile High Church in 2003. I might just cry, simply because today I start my full-time position here at Mile High, and it's aligned with today. But in 2003, when I arrived at Mile High Church, I was in the midst of a lot of challenge in my life. I don't know about you, but often we might be drawn to spiritual meccas when we're in that place where we're in of greatest need, when we're down on our knees and we're saying, gosh, I could really use some support here. I could really use some hand holding. And I was in the midst of a marriage that was failing, and I had I had a baby actually in 2003, and a 5-year-old, and that marriage took quite another 5 years before it had completed its course. But I was in the midst of it in 2003. And I remember walking through those doors and sitting in the vote center over there, and they were talking about the choir. And I heard them say, we're having these choir auditions. This is my first Sunday here. And they're saying, just come on this day and join our choir. And I was like, I want to join the choir. I had no idea what raised my hand in the air. I was like, no, you do not want to join. What? You haven't even heard the choir sing. And you want to join the choir. And so I went and I showed up, and I didn't know how to sing, but I apparently sang enough to be put in the back row, in the risers, behind the plant, in the far corner, in the choir. And there I was in the far corner in the choir, and I had the most stage fright you have ever had in your life. I actually started to feel numb between my eyebrows. And I would stand up there and I'd be shaking. I'd have the full body shaking. I would have the numbness behind my eyebrows. My face would start to shake. And I thought, oh my gosh, somebody's going to definitely discover that you're up here if you pass out. And I don't think Dr. Roger's going to really be super happy to have to stop the whole show because you're laying under the plant instead of standing behind it. And so I would have to pinch my fingers. Seriously, I'd have to pinch them so that I would have some kind of energy going to a different body part so I wouldn't pass out. I had horrible stage fright. And I thought, please don't ever give me a microphone. Please don't ever make me stand in front of a room full of people. Please don't ever have me share with other people because I might die or throw up, which would even be worse, I think, probably, than dying. So I stood there, but this was my spiritual practice. And now looking back on that time in the choir, I can see why I was drawn to that back row, to stand in that plant. Because there was a piece of me that needed to heal. There were many pieces of me that are still on the healing path, that are still continuing to heal and reveal themselves, and always will be. But as I stood there, I started to hear the messages. I joined the classes. And in the class, I remember Reverend Cynthia was like my first class, and she had us stand up. She'd say, stand up, and she'd hand me the microphone, and I'm like hitting myself with it. I'm like, I don't want to hold this microphone. And she was like, stand up. She was like, stand up, stand in your power. And I began to work the spiritual principles, to build within myself that capacity to move through the fear, beyond the fear, in all the areas of my life. And as you know, even the standing there in that plant was related to standing in my marriage and relating with my children and moving forth as a school psychologist at the time. It was related to all of it. And so over time, I migrated from behind the plant to the middle. They also found out I wasn't an alto. I really shouldn't have been behind the plant to begin with because I wasn't even singing in that level. But I freed my voice, and then I moved over here. And then, what do you know? A year later, I was able to we sang Bridge Over Troubled Waters, and I was able to stand in the aisle and do the little movements and not pass out. I could actually be seen. And I share that story because it's an example, I think, of what each one of us is called to really embrace within ourselves, those places that are the hurt places or are the places that feel like they are imprisoned in darkness and they are frozen in time. Those are the places that hold the gold. Because I stand here before you today able to not pinch myself or chew on something or hide behind a plant simply because of the love that I experienced and the working of those classes and connecting here and really working those principles over time. So this morning we're going to move into a spiritual practice known as a visioning. And it's a visioning process because we're going to move into a meditation where we open ourselves to receive divine guidance. And that divine guidance can be from your higher self, from God, from Spirit, from whatever is inside your own mind, whatever works for you, that higher presence, that divine light. And we open to that space and we become a receptacle together, holding this container here in this room. And we open ourselves to receive. And what are we receiving this morning? We're going to be asking, what are the values that I want to emerge with right now in life? What is that energetic essence and presence, and what makes up my signature of being as I move forward from this cocoon? And what are the experiences, perhaps during the quarantine or perhaps during your life, that are my gold, that I draw from in order to share my purpose with the world, in order to support others in the world? And we're going to gather all of that onto these worksheets that we passed out at the beginning. So hopefully you have 2 worksheets. The first one has a picture of a pillars, has a building with 4 pillars, and on the other side it includes the visioning questions that I'm going to be guiding us through this morning. And the other one has a list of core values. And I only passed out that list of core values just simply to prime our field this morning. To prime our field so that we have the values circulating around us so that maybe we can choose one, but there may be one that's not there that just pops in. Or maybe you have already felt within yourself the values that you know you're going to anchor for. And so I would invite you to gather those, particularly having the one with the questions on the other side of the pillars in front of you. And if you feel called while we're doing the visioning process, you can write answers to those questions or collect the information on that paper, but it's not necessary. If you simply just want to listen and you're someone who just absorbs the information that comes through as you're in meditation and it's too distracting to write, then just set that aside. And during the visioning process, of course, each one of us may receive this information in multiple ways. It could come as images that come in, that you might be seeing butterflies moving through, and I think I can, yes, here we are. Oh, and forgot that little animation there. But you may see visions, you may see colors, you may hear things, you may feel textures, you may see yourself standing on the cliffs of Moher. I don't know what you'll be collecting, but there is no right or wrong to the way that you're receiving the information. Is that the music we chose, Anthony? Is that the one? We don't know. This is good. This is music. All right. Awesome. So go ahead and begin to settle yourself and find, maybe we'll just do without music right now, I think, perhaps. Yes, I think we can turn the lights down. I think maybe we'll just do it silently, because sometimes music can be a little busy. And so I'd invite you to find and settle into your space, just getting comfortable and settling in a way that you can allow your body to feel the seat beneath you and your feet on the floor, finding a comfortable position so that your body can let go and you can open your mind and your heart. And begin by focusing on your breath. Allowing your bright breathing to direct you within. Moving into that sense of presence, bringing your heart fully here. Opening your mind to receive. And breathing in and breathing out, feeling the present now. Putting down for the moment any thoughts of the external world. Feeling yourself falling into that sweet space of stillness. Still point at the center of your being. Natural state of your beingness. And perhaps drawing upon your memory to times that you even felt very still, very centered. Imagining for yourself what it might be like to be at the bottom of the ocean. Feeling immersed in that deep water. Or perhaps also considering the stillness of walking on a snowy path in the middle of the forest after it is a deep snow, and the silence that is all around. And in this stillness, we open to enter that very kingdom of our inner being, that essence of who we are, that interior castle of your soul. And we rest in this place. And here we remember and reclaim that aspect of us that is eternal, that is connected to the all that is, that cosmic connection. feeling that who we really are is transcendent. Transcendent of this external world and deeply anchored in this internal world. And from this place we open ourselves to the vastness of the creative universe, to listen, to hear clearly the voice of spirit or our higher selves. And we open this sense of allowingness, allowing ourselves to be a receptacle. Allowing ourselves to be facilitated through the questions of visioning. And inviting our essence to communicate to us in any way that it desires. Whether it be pictures or symbols or colors, a felt sense or words, whatever it is, we're so open and willing to receive and available for any method of communication. And so we ask, what are the key values that support my emergence into life as it is right now? And we listen. What are the key values that support my emergence into life as it is right now? And if you feel called, you can collect it on your sheet. If not, just continue to listen. And what is an essential value that defines my spiritual life right now? And in contemplating the close relationships in your life right now, what is a key value that you bring to those relationships? And considering your personal expression, the authentic essence of you, what are some defining characteristics that make up who you are. It could be talents, wisdom, divine qualities. Qualities that you want to bring to the forefront of your life. Asking, what is my focus into what I want to share with others right now? What are the qualities of me that I want to share? Is there anything that I need to release as I emerge into a greater expression and creation in my life? And we listen to receive. And the next question, is there anything that I must embrace for the full expression of this vision to be brought to life? And is there a color, a texture, scent, song, sound, image that best represents my emergence into life right now? And finally, we ask, giving an opportunity to check in and sense from an intuitive place, is there anything else that is seeking expression through me right now? Just opening and allowing that intuitive voice to be heard. And finally, we give thanks, beginning to draw all of this visioning to a close, just being grateful for anything that has shown itself in the vision, in whatever form it might have arrived, for each beautiful soul here that said yes to being a receptacle for this information to be shared. And with this sense of gratitude for this moment of perhaps intuition, inspiration, and receptivity, we begin to prepare ourselves to return back to this space to share with each other and with ourselves, paying attention to what has shown up in this process. We're so grateful. Breathing in, we begin to feel fully present in our body, sensing our surroundings once again. And I invite you to begin to focus on your breath as the guide back out of this meditation and into the world and the room around us. Perhaps gently beginning to move a bit, and when you are ready and feel complete, you can open your eyes and release the meditation. And I'll just give you a few minutes if you want to journal and begin to collect or reflect upon your experience and any information that might have come forward that you'd like to gather. And there's, on the other side of the handout, there is a structure that has 4 pillars. And I've put them up here with some ideas. I know when I was going through ministerial school, I created something similar to this for myself because I knew that I had certain values and qualities that I wanted to bring forth within myself, to develop, to polish, to also bring into my spiritual practice and rehearse and pray with and meditate on. And so each column I put up here some ideas if you wanted to perhaps list some key values that you want to bring into your life, some key characteristics in the second pillar that define who you are, define who I am. The third pillar is experiences that shape my purpose or the gold I have to share and give with others. And then the final pillar is a pillar for a couple of actions. Like, given all of this vision of my emergence into life and what I'm bringing with me, how can I translate this into the next steps of my development, my living life? Perhaps it is in your business, or perhaps it's in your relationships, or perhaps it's within yourself, something that you're clear that you want to do to create, expand, and spread that, strengthen that capacity, that ability to show up in the vision that you have for your emergence. So I'd give you a couple of minutes to collect and perhaps fill in, sketch out this visual, if you will, for yourself, and then we're going to do a little sharing at our tables with each other. Yes. Yes, I can. It's so small, is it not? Values is the first one. The second one says characteristics that define who I am. The third one says experiences that shape my sharing. And the fourth one is action steps. And this little portal at the top, this little part of the building, you could put a symbol there if you felt called. You could draw a symbol that represents you. For me, I think at this moment it would be like roots, because I'm working on grounding. Certainly, the third one is experiences. So just experiences in your life that shape what you want to bring to the world. Your gold, if you will. I know one of the gifts for our family during COVID was the expansion of time. And I feel as if it was almost like at certain moments we entered into a wormhole of sorts, right? Where time was stretched and time was paused and time took on different meaning and time also flew. And it just had a different sensation of time. And if I were going to harvest the gifts of COVID, I would harvest some of the losses, because it was a difficult year. I lost a former father-in-law to COVID. And yet I would also harvest the gift of the stretching of time. We found family dinners again. And we had been running and moving so quickly that family dinners had gotten lost in the shuffle. And the gift of being all together gave us the gift of having that connection time. And my partner and I both had graduating seniors, and we got the gift of time with those two souls that we would not have had if time hadn't have been paused. And so the gift that I'm bringing forward from that time of COVID is the gift of valuing time and stretching time on purpose, to put my hands in the soil on purpose, to have family dinners on purpose. And that's one of the gifts. It awakened in me, wow, I can feel deeply connected by stretching time in ways and using it wisely. And so in the emergence, I don't know if some of you feel, but we're moving back into time. Perhaps we have the chance for it to mean the same as it did before. Or perhaps we build in little carved out spaces to be with those gifts, to harvest them. So that's an example of one that I would put on a pillar. And so I'll just give you a few minutes to complete your worksheet. And Anthony, we can cue up some music if you want, and then we'll pause, and then you can maybe share a couple of your pillar important things on your pillar with those that you're collaborating with at your table. So if you feel comfortable now, I would invite you to potentially share around the circle one or two values that you want to bring forth in your emergence for your life or for your business or in any area of life. See? Yeah. And so go ahead and just discuss whatever comes forward from your pillars that you want to share with your table mates. All right, so just wrapping it up in like the next minute or so. All right, so coming back together slowly. So is there any revelation or someone has something that they really felt that they want to, they're inspired to share with everyone here for Anthony does? Oh. No, he has the microphone. If you would like to share in the microphone, Anthony is the microphone runner here. Share something that was revealed to you.
Thank you, Rev Z. It's very interesting. It's been on my mind since I saw your picture, which is very different than what you have up there. And to start, I never saw the columns. I only saw the space in between.
Wow.
And that is what captivated me, and I've been in that space thinking through all of what's in between, all of that you took me to. So thank you.
I love that. I love that, Louis. It's like a portal. We can look at it two different ways. I'm going to go home and see that picture different too. Portals, the space between. Beautifully said. Thank you. Back here? Okay. And then over here.
Thank you. So some of what came up with me is to remember my heart, to remember my breath, to focus on that heart-centered breathing. And that helps me to remember my oneness with each one of you, with all of humankind and Mother Earth. It helps me to deepen my ability to forgive, to practice compassion and empathy, and to come from that heart-centered love. Beautiful
Thank
meditation.
You,
Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. And over here.
Guess I should stand up. I like this exercise, but the thought that came across in my mind is there should be a prequel to this. And the prequel is, when you look in the mirror, do you love you? And when you start loving yourself, then you can more clearly see. Otherwise, the ego gets in the way and clouds all of this.
Beautifully said, yes. Part 1. This was part 2 today. Thank you. That is well said, yes. You do have to have that level of acceptance that really opens the door to the expansion. Thank you. Well, I just want to thank each one of you this morning. It has been such a delight to be with you and to celebrate this emergence of BHS back into the world of in-person and online collaboration, both and, right? And I love this new world of both and because it's expanded into this global potential to be globally connected as a great community. And so I will close us all with a prayer in a little bit, but I right now just close this portion of the meeting celebrating your emergence and your expansion as you move into life with your essential self and your energetic signature aligned with that greatest part of you. And so thank you for this opportunity to be with you this morning. It has really been a joy. And I look forward to BHS's greater expansion.
Yes, thank you, Reverend Z.
Thank you.
Keep it going
Thank
for
you.
Reverend Z. What a great
Thank you.
topic to
Thank
kick
you,
off
thank you.
BHS
Thank you,
as we start
Anthony.
back in person.